get ready to begin on your back. Um, and if it's familiar to you, we're going to begin in some kind of chest opening shape. I like to lay over a bolster, or that can also look like 2 blocks. I'm going to go grab my blocks. No, my friends. All right. So if you just came on, I'm inviting us to begin on our back in a supported chest opening shape. So I am going to stack 2 blocks at the top of my mat and lay a bolster over them. You can find some variation like that. And some folks like to roll up a blanket under the knees just to relieve a little pressure off the back. Take your time to adjust and find a shape that feels sustainable this morning. And then as you feel ready, begin to transition your mind towards the practice of awareness. Take some time to recognize how you're showing up. Notice perhaps any thoughts or emotions moving through your mind. And perhaps you begin to feel more acquainted with your physical body. From here, start to recognize all of the places in your body that are touching the floor. The head, both shoulders, the spine, both legs and feet. And as it becomes available to you, you're welcome to soften your eyes, perhaps even letting the eyelids touch. Scanning your whole physical body, begin to recognize the areas that might need a little more love and tenderness today. And offer yourself the space to care for those areas, to tend to what your body needs. Become aware of the length of your spine. Imagine the length of your spine feeling expansive and spacious, as if each individual vertebrae were perfectly placed above one another. And as you feel more present and arrive, I'll invite you to open your arms over your head and then see if you can reach your hands to your forearms or your elbows and let the arms soften back. We'll take 3 breaths here, watching as the breath begins to move in your body. Knowing there's no need to rush or control your breath, but rather let the breath be passive and natural. Return your arms out to the sides, maybe open your palms wide and then squeeze your hands into a tight ball. And we'll open and release that tension and close and squeeze that tension. Extend your arms back over your head, perhaps switch the orientation of your hands, reaching in the opposite way for either elbow. And just get a sense of how this might feel on the shoulder blades. Observe if the ribs have begun to brace or lift up. Invite them to evenly balance on your support. 3 deep breaths. Watch the breath move up the entire side length of the body. And slowly open your arms back out wide and send them down by your hips. Resting the palms up towards the sky. And from this space, I'll invite you to create an intention for your practice. That could be a feeling, an image, a quality or word that you would like to embrace. Something to cultivate and to nourish. And perhaps as you come to that intention, guide your hands somewhere over the chest space, the heart center. And sending the energy and the warmth of this intention through your hands and into your torso. Letting it spread across each rib. And then, knowing there's no rush, we'll begin to shift off of our support, just coming down to one side for a moment. Begin to release the props away from your back and come all the way flat on your mat. I like to cushion my head with a blanket. You're welcome to do so. And from here, Take your right hand and place the right hand behind the spine. The palm is connecting down to the mat. Now, the higher up you place your hand, the more intense the sensation might feel. And the lower along your spine might feel a little gentler. From here, let the left arm relax and begin to invite heaviness into the whole body. Evenly place the back of your body and begin to observe all of the points of contact between your body and the ground. And if it is useful to you, perhaps you imagine these places in your body are sending roots down into the nourishing ground. And the roots might intertwine until they form this perfect nucleus of energy that is deep and sustained by the protection of our earth. After spending some time here, you might begin to feel sensation across the front of the shoulder, perhaps the collarbone or the neck as well. Feel free to cushion the back or the front of the shoulder at any point. Take your left hand over to the right side of the neck and offer yourself some tactile warmth here. Maybe it's just a solid pressure, or perhaps you find a gentle massage here. All the while maintaining heaviness in the body. Observing any resistance and perhaps sending that resistance down through the roots we've created and letting it turn to the earth where that resistance might recycle into something new and valuable. Release the left arm. Three more breaths here. And as you feel complete, begin to bend your right knee and push into the floor so you can shift your weight over to the left, unwinding the shape and releasing both arms by your sides, taking a moment to pause and allow the sensation to come back to the right arm. Spread your palms and your fingers wide, and then close the thumbs towards the palm, the first finger, second finger, third finger, and fourth finger. Squeeze into this tight ball, and then soften the hands completely. Bend the left elbow, take the left hand behind the spine. Connecting the palm downward, you might notice the texture of the yoga mat or the floor. And as you find this side, just recognize and tend to any ways that feel different on this side. See how you might spiral the left arm muscles down towards the floor so that they can soften and release. And as you're here, you might check in to the quality of your breath, recognizing that you are breathing and that you are safe. Taking a moment to scan your environment, becoming aware of any sounds in your environment. And invite awareness to the other senses as well. Perhaps taking in any scents or smells in your environment. Or if there are no smells around you, maybe it's the temperature you recognize, the cool air moving in through your nose and the warm air releasing from your nose. Staying in this shape for 3 more rounds of breath. From there, bending your left knee, pushing into the floor so you can release the arm. And taking a moment to recalibrate there. Open your hands wide and close your thumb, first finger, second finger, third finger, fourth finger. Finding a little bit of pressure here, closing the hands and reaching the arms over your head. And opening the hands, releasing the arms back down by your waist. And begin to draw your knees in towards your torso. Rock back and forth. Return the feet to the floor, and we'll find a little bit of movement through the spine through a bridge shape. So the feet come even on the floor. Find some pressure into the ground and then lift your hips up towards the ceiling. And as you feel complete, return the spine all the way back down. We'll do that 3 more times at your own pace. Take your time, but I will meet you on your torso. So you can just roll all the way over or push up and find your way onto your belly from there. Bring support to the front of your mat and arrive in a sphinx shape. So forearms are going to connect down on the floor. Now here I fold up a blanket and put it on the lowest part of the rib cage. Take a moment first to find some pressure into the floor, maybe finding a really active sphinx shape. And then recognize how it feels to release all of that. Let the shoulders perhaps hollow down into place. You might notice your legs rolling to the outside. Let them be heavy. And over time, you might choose to place a block under your head if the head becomes tender. And from here in this orientation, recognize the quality of your breath. Perhaps feeling a gentle expansion into the floor through your abdomen as you inhale, and feeling the abdomen release as you exhale. If this ever feels too intense, come down all the way onto your belly. And that in itself is a gentle back bend. You're welcome to stay just as you are. If you are looking for any more amount of sensation, then perhaps bend one leg and then the other. Again, allowing the top of the thighs to be heavy. Finding target sensation in the lower back, the lumbar spine. I'll invite you to stay in this shape for 5 more natural breaths. As if you're moving through honey or something really thick, like the air is heavy. Slowly make your way back down onto your torso. Take your hands back by your ribs and we'll push into the floor for a moment, lifting up into an all fours position. And we'll release any tension in the back by finding a little bit of movement. You might choose to draw the collarbones forward, looking up, lowering the belly, and then pushing into the floor, tucking the chin, separating the shoulder blades. Perhaps link this with your breath. Inhale, carry the torso forward. Release and draw the torso backward. And knowing at any point you can add in organic movement. That might be a shift from one hip to the other. And here, taking a moment to notice if you would like any blankets under your knees. We're going to find the arms extending out in front of us. Keeping your hips stacked somewhere over the knees, begin to walk your arms out in front. Now, this is already a lot for me, so I'm going to choose to take it one arm at a time. That means bending one forearm and resting my head on that forearm. Some folks also like to place a cushion or pillow under the ribs to make this even more restorative. You're welcome to widen your arms a bit off of the mat. Recognize that you are breathing. And recognize that you are safe. We might begin to sense some heat or warmth throughout the shoulder area or around the neck. See how you can allow this warmth to be there and to be curious about the deeper tissues in our body. If you have one arm bent, begin to switch now. And if the breath ever feels stuck or as if you're bracing, sometimes letting out a sound, an audible vibration, can invite the body to soften. So as you come to your next exhale, I'll invite you to let out a gentle hum. Hmm. Perhaps you notice the need to move or the tendency to control your experience. And that is okay. We can witness that as normal and part of the practice. Three more breaths. And when you are complete, inch the hands back towards the knees as you lift the torso off of the mat and come to sit on your heels. Before you shift and adjust, just pause and recalibrate. And then we'll stay on our heels for a moment. So I'm going to place a block, maybe even 2 blocks between my ankles. You can always just find a normal seated position. And begin to reach the arms off to the sides. Now spread your palms and spread the fingers. If the ears and shoulders are feeling really tight, let the shoulders soften down into their sockets. And you might imagine as if you're gently reaching the arms back towards the back plane of your body. And this in itself, at least for me, brings a lot of sensation across the arms and the collarbones. This is our lung meridian and our heart meridian in Chinese medicine. These energy channels are responsible for our breath, our respiratory system, and also the heart organ in itself, the ability to pump and circulate blood to the whole body. And as sensation arrives, draw your mind back to what is true for you. Then slowly, very slowly, let the arms return down by your sides. Elbows are soft. We'll just find a few shoulder circles. I like to place my hands on my collarbones and then draw the elbows out and up, off to the sides and down. And switch the direction. And then find a moment of stillness. These are called firearms. So we're going to reach our arms out in front of us. They could be over your head or out in front, like you're picking a piece of fruit off of a tree. And we're going to open our hands and close our hands and keep doing that Perhaps you imagine like you're flicking some water off of your nails. Begin to move a little quicker. Maybe reach the arms a little higher. Inhale, and then relax, exhale. Take your hands behind you and interlace those fingers. And guide the hands over to the left waist. Invite the left elbow back and the ribs to soften down. So some of us really protrude through the ribs here. See if you can align them back towards the belly button. And draw the right ear to the right shoulder. Perhaps recognizing any extra places of resistance or effort that you don't need to hold on to. For me, that might be in the front of the hip joints and the psoas muscles. Return to this quality of heaviness, becoming aware once again of the connection between your legs and the earth, all of the points of contact between your body and the earth. And if it's useful to you in your practice, you might imagine these places to be sending roots down into the protection and the power that comes from the earth. Explore the angle of your neck by rotating your chin down towards your collarbone and up towards the ceiling. And find one more place to pause for a few more breaths. Becoming present with what is true for you right now. And very slowly, like your body's moving through honey, the head returns back on top of the shoulders, and the arms slowly make their way back and over to the right hip, right waist. Right elbow kind of squeezes back. And then we'll take a moment to recognize any difference from side to side before you might take the left ear to the left shoulder. And taking the opportunity to maybe shifting or staying still, rotating the chin down and up. And staying in a moment of stillness for 3 more breaths. Take your head back over your shoulders, your arms back behind you, and release the hands. Inhale, arms reach over your head. Exhale, bend your elbows, send your chest up. Squeeze the shoulders behind you. We'll do that once more. Inhale and exhale. Inhale, neutral. Arms reach off to the side. Spreading your fingers, inviting sensation and energy to move. Close your thumb to the palm of the hand, the first finger, second finger, third finger, fourth finger. Squeeze your hands. Take a big breath. And exhale, relax. All right, we'll make our way back on our belly. Take 2 blocks to the top of the mat, or a pillow or a cushion, something with some elevation. And we'll take our elbows to the very edges of the blocks. So the edges of the blocks that are closest to your body. And then from here, I'm gonna inch my whole body back a couple of inches. Let your head move down towards the floor and take the palms together. First, find maybe a pound or two of pressure there. Push the palms together. Feel the muscles around the shoulders and the arms. And then soften the pressure. Let the whole body grow soft. And to draw our brain back to the present space, we might begin to recognize all of the senses that are working for us. Recognize any sound. If your eyes are open, you might be recognizing color or shapes, sensing the texture of the clothes on your body and the body on the ground. And over time, you're welcome to find more sensation by stacking the blocks at a higher elevation, or less sensation by removing the blocks and just putting the elbows on the floor. Stay here for 5 more breaths. Maintaining the quality of heaviness, begin to return the whole body down to the floor. Maybe wrap your arms back by your hips and turn one cheek to the floor. And from here, begin to take your right arm off to the side. Instead of straight out to the side, we're going to bend the arm like a 90-degree angle. So I'll show you on my left just because you can see this arm. So this 90-degree angle with the palm on the floor, and we're going to turn our way over to that right shoulder. And now you're not going to move as far as you might normally move if the arm were straight out like a T. Some folks might draw the knees up towards the torso, or others might twist this shape a little bit more by lifting the knees up towards the ceiling. In this shape, we are targeting the shoulder joint, the collarbones, the chest muscle. Finding the perfect amount of sensation for you. Recognize that you are breathing and that you are safe. Welcome your body to release any extra tension, any extra feeling that does not serve you and your intention. Make your way back onto your torso. Bend both knees and rock the feet back and forth. And when you're complete there, you begin to set up for the left side. Reaching the left arm and bending the elbow to a 90-degree shape. From there, just slowly twist your weight over to the left until you find that edge of sensation that you'd like to explore further. The practice of yin is allowing, and the practice of yin is curious. How can we invite curiosity into our practice? A few more moments just as you are. And as you are complete, return the whole body back to a balanced position. You might wrap your hands back by your sacrum, resting them on the lower back just for a moment. And then plant your hands out by your ribs. Take your time to push up onto all fours. Tuck your toes and then shift back like you're moving into a child's pose, just stretching the back of the feet for a minute. And return forward. Take your blocks to the top of the mat. And step your right leg forward. You can always tuck the back toes or put a blanket under your back knee for more comfort. And then here you might just roll the shoulders back and down a few times. And then let your hands grow heavy on the block, beginning to soften the need to control around your hips. And know that you don't have to bend the knee quite as much. You're welcome to stay here. Becoming aware of all the places in your body that are connecting to the source of the earth. And just taking a moment to soften the edges around these places. Push the hands into the block and begin to lengthen out your front leg. You might push the heel into the floor a little bit, walk your blocks back. And maybe shift your hips back and forth, side to side. Pause and return back to a bent knee. And if the mind is beginning to control or create expectations or judgments, we can anchor it back by repeating something that is true for you. I am practicing mindfulness. My legs are on the floor. My body is heavy. Take a deep inhale and a complete exhale. Shifting back to table, adjusting, allowing, maybe shifting the hips side to side before we take our left foot forward. Taking care to comfort this side. Let the block support your hands. The whole body is supported. Finding a little bit of movement, lengthening out the left leg, pushing the heel into the floor, and maybe swaying your hips back and forth. And bending into the left knee, returning to the shape. and exploring the edges of sensation. Knowing that sensation is good, pain, however, is not. So, this practice invites you to take care of your body. Take a complete inhale and a complete exhale. And slowly we'll return the front foot back and sit on your hips. Take the feet out in front of you. And draw the soles of the feet together. Let the knees part wide. And in your own time, you might choose to fold forward. Maybe even tucking the chin and letting the spine round a bit. Five more breaths. Slowly release the shape, lift the body back up. Guide your knees together and shift onto your back. And from our back, we'll find a twist. I'm going to take my feet wider than my mat and then shift the knees over to the right. Maybe even supporting the left knee with a block or pillow. Arms can be over your head if that feels comfortable, or off to the side. Return attention to the back of the body, evenly placing the back of the body on the floor. Let each individual rib relax down towards your belly. Draw your knees back towards the ceiling and shift them over to the left. And from this space, I'll invite you to return attention back to the whole body, the crown of the head down to the soles of the feet. And as you feel complete there, move through any final shapes or movements before we rest. And your final rest can look however it wants for you, maybe sitting in meditation or lying on your back, maybe letting the legs rest on a couch if they're there. Just take some time to become really comfortable. Let the arms rest by the sides of the body. Begin to soften the area behind your eyes, around your cheeks and your jaw. Begin to allow relaxation to carry through the whole body. And taking comfort in this moment, knowing there's nowhere you need to go, nothing you need to do, but be present with your thoughts and present with your breath. Guide awareness back to the whole body and awareness back to your breath. And lastly, guide awareness back to the intention or purpose for your practice today. And perhaps inviting the hands over your chest just to send that intention into your heart. And from there, gradually begin to reawaken your body, opening and closing your hands and shifting around your feet. Beginning to make these movements a little bigger and broader before you can rock over to one side. And you might pause there for a moment before shifting all the way up to a seated position. And when you arrive in a seat, just begin to gentle sway back and forth, aligning your center of gravity, and then finding pause. And perhaps taking this moment as a chance to be grateful, sending a token of gratitude out into the world. And letting the effects of your practice move forward with you throughout your weekend. I thank all of you for sharing the space together online and in person. May you be joyful, may you be at peace, and may you be free. Thank you and namaste.
Thank you so much, everyone. Enjoy your day. Thanks.